The creature Commandos have been getting a lot of talk recently with the current TV series, starting a new era of DC entertainment as a whole with the DCU. And all over the internet talking about the series is the Bride, who's so far looking to become kind of a Harley Quinn type figure for what she was to the Suicide Squad to what Bride is now going to be for the creature Commandos. Perhaps a fan favorite. I mean, a personal favorite of mine so far. Also Phosphorus. I like Phosphorus a lot. He's likely to get his own video soon. However, her time in comics hasn't been met with as much fame as the character has just in the last few months, so let's talk about the Bride in her comic book history, and her history before even comics. The Bride, or Lady Frankenstein, is of course based on the Mary Shelley book from 1818, Frankenstein, although she was not named there, instead being a monster who the original monster demands Victor Frankenstein create for him wanting a mate. However, the clearly more influential source is the 1935 movie, The Bride of Frankenstein, which is an iconic film for the introduction of the first female monster in the at the time genre, played by Elsa Lanchester. This movie overall is an iconic film, for not only horror fans but believed to hold a very strong influence on LGBTQ fandom, with many reading a rejection of men being a lesbian coding. The movie overall also has other strong elements of feminism. Or if you just like old school horror movies, it's also for you. Although, genuine question, am I the only one who ever kinda got a weird vibe by the idea of Victor Frankenstein being both of their creators? Because, to me, that doesn't make them spouses, to me that makes them siblings. There would also be a few other places in media that would play with this original character concept, from cartoon references to more modern at the time animated features. She's becoming a bit of an iconic staple of the horror genre. Maybe not as much as her ex, but she still pops up here and there, which I think is deserving. The movie itself is actually pretty solid, and in my opinion still holds up today. DC's Bride would be introduced in 2006's Frankenstein miniseries, that was tied into the at the time Grant Morrison 7 Soldier of Victory arc of multiple different miniseries of different members of the team, with Frank being a member of the new team. Also, let's just get this out of the way. In the original book, Frankenstein was the name of the doctor, but in the film and in DC Comics, the monster is also named Frankenstein, named after his creator. The Bride's origin is essentially the same as it was in the original movie. She was created by Victor as a wife for Frankenstein, but she would reject the monster. Although in this version, they maintain a sort of understanding between each other. Both have a strong sense of awareness than their movie counterparts. They're not brainless monsters. It also implies they might have actually liked each other, but came to a mutual understanding. It's more respectful between the two of them, likely to not character assassinate Frankenstein. She would debut in the 3rd issue of the series. Frankenstein is ambushed by a swarm of animals under the control of a villain known as the Water, who is living water. But as it seems it's all too much, a helicopter lands with the Bride appearing, joking it's been a long time, as it seems she's about to shoot him only to save him as he jumps onto the helicopter to make an escape. Pretty confused by what the hell is going on. Also because she now has 4 arms, which he has no idea why that's a thing. After saving him, she takes him to a place known as Shade, an organization that deals with the supernatural, that the Bride now works for. They get a debriefing about the Water, and they're being paired together against him for the reason that they don't have water in their bodies. Therefore, he can't control them. The Bride and Frankenstein relationship clearly has some tension, but they do respect each other enough to work together and protect each other. They do have some banter here and there where it seems to imply that Frank might have some feelings left for the Bride, but she doesn't back, although she does still care about him in a more platonic survivors together. They share memories, along with the Bride trying to catch him up to speed, revealing that she had been kidnapped by a villain named Red Swami, who had tortured her, gave her extra arms, and used her as a pawn as an assassin under his control, killing innocent people, but was freed by Shade, so when they call, she answers, thankful for them saving her. Water does continue to create madness in people and animals, trying to use them to kill the ex-couple, or never was couple. The Bride also has this brutal scene where they discover that the controller of the Water is actually a former Shade pilot who's also infected, and she decapitates him with a piece of glass. Damn, that's cold. He's fine though, he gets turned into a cyborg later. The story ends with Frankenstein being offered to join Shade, which he rejects, as we also see Bride leave herself. The next issue is pure clickbait, or cover bait. She's on the cover but appears only in 1 page of the entire issue itself, where we see her briefly back with Shade working on helping with the current natural disasters that tie into the main plot. I feel cheated. Pre-Flashpoint, the Bride would continue to appear a handful more times, typically with Shade as an active agent, but it would be a while until she was given her own storyline, that being until Flashpoint. In the Flashpoint event, the Bride would appear in the 2011 Frankenstein tie-in series. In this miniseries, the creature commandos have been missing since World War II, with the Bride not actually having been a member, but instead she's looking for her ex-fiancé after hearing of his disappearance. She would end up helping the team after they were released from the cryo chambers, helping save them from Sam Lane's assassin group. Her and her ex still have tension between them, but unlike before where she remained to have a mutual respect with him, they have more sexual tension between them, where she seems to have her own unresolved feelings for him herself, implying that in this version it might have been her that got rejected and not him, or at the very least they liked each other mutually. She would end up helping the team until the end, and while we don't see it, considering how this event ends, I am going to go on a limb here and say that she also probably died. As did, well, everyone. The character's biggest role comes from the 2011 New 52 Frankenstein comic, where the character would be part of the Creature Commandos team, now being a bit of a mix of both versions of the character. She still remains in a respectful relationship with her ex, but is also shown to still have feelings for him, even briefly implying they might get back together, although it didn't happen. She's also shown to have a friendship with Nina, which is something I kinda wish they did more with. Issue 8, The Spawn of Frankenstein, will be the biggest showing of her character. It's revealed that the Bride and Frankenstein actually had a son, who has been hidden away from them by Shade despite all that she has done for them. He was kept in a zoo of monsters that Shade kept, where he was tortured and in constant pain. When she discovers him, the only thing that she could do was let her son go from living, as he pleaded for her to put him out of his pain. This entire plot made me hate Shade, which I know is the point, but Jesus Christ. Bride is of course disgusted by her employers and walks away altogether, leaving the series. The Bride has since then only made a handful of cameos, primarily in Justice League Dark. As an active supernatural superhero, she's shown to be separated from Shade permanently. The Bride as a character I think is full of potential. All the tragedy that she's been through is a lot. Created to love someone that she doesn't, tortured, turned into an assassin, only to be saved by Shade just for them to betray her to what they did to her son. She's been through it. I am a bit surprised Frankenstein hasn't attempted to reach out to her, or at the very least not on panel, or Nina, or anybody. The character in Creature Commandos' origin is so far very much more in tone with the original film's version, along with the details of only having 2 arms, and this version having a relationship with Frankenstein that is very different. Instead, it frames him in the not most likable light, now being more of an obsessive incel. The Bride, however, this time comes out stronger and more tragic, more hardcore, both as a character but also her personality, which makes her my favorite member of the team. Well, her and Phosphorus. He's a lot of fun even if you wouldn't like to hear that. In my opinion, it makes the Bride a better character than before, because even though I like the character in the comics, I think this is definitely an improvement. I do think that this change makes Frankenstein pretty unlikable as a character, however, having a very different mindset not only with the relationship, but the fact that he seems to not fully understand that she gets a choice. I know opinions vary, and I saw a lot of people saying online how they felt bad for Frankenstein. I didn't, at all. I really didn't. I think that he was a very unlikable character, and I still think that. Maybe I'll change my mind in later episodes. But so far, while the change makes Bride a better character, it makes Frankenstein a worse character. Overall, the character of the Bride I think has a lot of potential. The biggest part of the character's, I think, lack of popularity comes from the fact that their storylines haven't ever had the moment to breathe. They're always very confined to single issues, miniseries, to where the character can very easily just be a minor character, when her storylines themselves I think are very interesting. But now with Creature Commandos, I think there's a pretty good chance the character could come back into the comics better than ever. I mean, hey, Peacemaker did. And that's it. Like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!